So this is Three Broken Chairs
How we doing, guys?
on the air tonight. Eric?
Man, this shit's been in my head for so long. Like, first of all, here's the thing that first shocked me, right? Like, I'm sitting here trying to do this research on this shit. Did you know that the leading cause of mental retardation in America is iodine deficiency?
I did not.
That's why in the early 90s they started fortifying prenatal vitamins and everything with iodine and folic acid and things like that because
To help prevent it.
yeah.
So what was there like a really high percentage at the time in your research of mental what's the politically correct term for that? Mentally handicapped.
Mentally handicapped.
I truly believe that going around it too hard like that and saying mentally handicapped when we're talking about something like that is mental retardation is the scientific term.
Sure.
Yeah.
What time frame are you
We're not
and that's from your studies.
We're not using that as a pejorative term towards anyone. To my best knowledge, that is the scientific term for it.
Okay.
What you were saying iodine deficiency previously? What time frame? Like previously?
I believe 90s. I believe
90s.
the
Okay.
90s.
So this was
when they started fortifying the prenatal vitamins.
How about that?
Did they say what caused the deficiencies, or lack of foods, or change in diet? Was it environmental? We just don't produce a hormone that's needed when living in the wild. Like, what is this?
People just don't have balanced diets.
I mean, I would assume similar to like iron deficiencies.
And that's why they started adding iodine to salt. And you had iodized salt a lot more when you were growing up. Everybody's getting away from that now. So
I see. Because salt's bad for the heart.
Right.
Exactly.
And being, as you get older as a male, you start, I turned down salt tonight at Tokyo's, went to Tokyo's, and they have those, soups that have all the sodium in it. It's like, nah, I think
so good though.
It is.
That soup is so good.
But is it good for you?
That needs to be brought up then. The MSG.
Well, but see, that's the problem.
Okay.
Is that not necessarily the salt that you're adding to things. The salt that we were adding to things had iodine in it to help add that to our diet because you weren't getting it from other areas. But
Sure.
What are those other areas, though?
You have salts in your foods already. Your foods have high levels of sodium in it to a certain point,
right?
Where
are those
adding salt to it is just poisoning yourself.
And that's just
Americans. Currently, we're at like a 90% rate of Americans that are 5 times higher in their average intake of sodium than they should be. 90%.
Do you think that's because McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, all these fast food restaurants? I mean, it's loaded down with sodium.
Well, not only that, we have to look
Definitely.
at our produce in the same aspect. We have the canned foods we produce. There are roughly 6 companies that produce quite literally everything that we eat, regardless of brand. They're owned by 6 parent companies. I mean, what are they putting in the food?
Right.
I mean, if we're intaking this much salt and having this much of a salt overload into our diets, obviously we have to look at something other than just
that's touching briefly on monopoly. I worked at a local dairy, and said company Walmart was paying them to bottle their milk, and it was sold much cheaper. And I'm just thinking to myself, that's not right.
Now a lot of supermarkets, of course, you've seen it in mid-2000s, early 2000s, buying up a lot of third-party brands and selling them as their own.
Right. But that's a topic that's a topic for a whole other night, and we want to talk about immunity health.
Right.
And back to the sodium.
You asked me how you can get iodine from other sources, and really it's pretty simple, but it's pretty one-sided.
What do you mean one-sided?
Well, you can get iodine from seaweed.
Sure.
Okay. I love the dry. You ever get dry seaweed at Kroger's?
Nori,
exactly.
Salted seaweed?
Yeah.
Which that's ironic because they actually brand it as salted seaweed, and you're saying that seaweed naturally has salt.
Exactly.
Or iodine.
Exactly. Well, it has iodine.
Not salt. Iodine is added to the salt.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Well, iodine is added to salt that you buy on the shelf as iodized salt. Salt doesn't necessarily have
iodine in it.
That's just
so it wasn't a uniform change where they put iodine in all salt. And relaying data maybe to younger kids that are listening.
They started providing just an option for somebody to.
They just added it to it. It's not found in salt.
If they wanted to.
really, other than seaweed, it really comes from seafood. So
Okay.
it's really just, that's what I mean about it all being one-sided. At the end of the day, it's pretty much just all seafood. You've got seaweed, you've got shrimp's high in iodine, you've got
So it's got to be
cod.
something in the diet of the aquatic marine life.
I didn't even consider that.
Yeah.
You know,
So
honestly.
it's usually really rich in carbon.
Sure.
You know. But I don't know if it has to do with nutrients they're dumping in from the rivers there into the ocean. You know, you get shrimps right there on the Gulf. At least a lot of the shrimp comes from the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay.
And, you know, those shrimp are just feeding off all the, particles of food or decay that's coming into the inlet there. Like, that's how New Orleans, it's a delta.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. That's really interesting.
That is.
So there's a deficiency problem, and that's
just what really like sparked my interest in all of this.
Okay.
Because like,
So you think people are more predisposed to some of the...
well, that just sparked my interest. At the end of the day, if you want to talk deficiencies, it's mind numbing.
Is there anything
To
you
be
know?
honest with you.
Is there anything you know in specific? You mentioned shrimp, obviously shrimp, but is there any other specific fish, seafood, if you will? Not a lot of people
Cod.
like cod.
Salmon. I'm not so sure about salmon. I believe salmon, but
Sure.
I know
Was it
cod
cod
for sure.
that I fixed the other night? Man, cod is a difficult one to cook.
Trout
If any
was
of you
pretty
guys have
difficult,
cod
too.
that wasn't deep fried,
You know,
dear God, load it up with as much iodine, salt, seasoning, whatever you can, because that stuff it's very, very fishy.
Well, now that gets into a nice area that I do kind of.
and us guys, we like to cook, so that's why I wanted to touch on that.
for sure.
speaking of cooking, the
I'm
steak
sorry.
we had
I
tonight.
don't mean to cut you off, man, but you
Prime
can't
ribeye.
get too high in vitamins.
Nothing like it.
So when seasoning your cod, you don't necessarily want to use iodized salt per se.
Right. Yeah. You may not want salt, but you need
Yeah.
a hell of a lot of seasoning. Put a lot of lemon
Okay.
pepper on it. A little
I know
bit of
deep frying cod
garlic.
takes quite a lot of time.
I think garlic would be good on it because garlic is
just to deep
strong,
fry
like a
cod.
garlic butter.
Really, garlic butter for the cod.
Cajun.
Cajun.
You guys Cajun on cod?
Oh,
Okay. Cajun cod.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
like it could be good.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Little Tony Shisharies on there.
So what else did you find out about? What did you learn in your research of immunity health, Eric?
Well, that's what I was saying. If you want to talk deficiencies, at the end of the day, deficiencies are rampant in Americans and adults in general. Mostly because all of our diets are shit. I mean, the general average American doesn't eat like even Ricky and I, let alone like you, Corey.
I just want to show you guys something and talk about, my daily diet and something that I do every day, regardless of the day,
Sure.
to start my nutrients off right.
Would very much like to hear. Something I've wanted to do
most
for a little
people-
bit of time. Just get a schedule, a little routine going in the morning. You wake up, do this. The exercising in general too. Back to the immune health thing. That's one thing you can obviously do to help boost yourself.
I've
Here we go.
got cabbage here. I've got Dakin radish. I've got Rambo radish. I've got broccoli.
So here we go. Here now we're starting on vitamin K.
Now, where do you find this stuff, Corey?
My buddy Jesse at Yellow and Blue Greens makes all these. They're microgreens. So basically, they're the sprouts of the vegetables, of the nutrients that you're trying to get in, and are actually a lot higher concentration of the vitamins that you want. Okay. Arugula is another one that I take daily. Spicy salad mix that he puts together. But yeah, I basically fill a blender of this stuff up every day.
Sure.
I add almonds to it, peanut butter, oats, almond milk, fresh fruits, bananas, apples, always an apple. Apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Naturally.
And, raspberries, blueberries, raspberries, mango. I had some mango today in this last one.
Now,
Strawberries.
I'm familiar with arugula, but what's the flavor profile of some of these? I see some
Yeah,
sprout lake here.
Try some.
I would love to.
Yes. Just eat it raw.
Eat it raw? Mm-hmm. All right. Not nearly as fragrant as I thought it could
It's
have
gonna
been,
have
but it
some
has a
kick to
nice
it.
little kick. Mm-hmm. That does taste good, too.
Yeah.
Almost looks like a clover.
Yes, a lot of them will. They're about 2-3 inches long.
It's very interesting.
This one's arugula.
That actually has a little bit more natural spice than I thought it would.
That's what goes in the spicy salad mix.
Yeah, I could see that in a spicy salad mix. Almost in place of
And then I'm gonna let you
Jalapeno,
guys
maybe.
try some
Oh,
of this
that
shit.
arugula is really good.
wow, yeah, it is. It's not nearly as strong as you would get at like a supermarket
So I'm
or
gonna
something
blend
like
this
that,
up.
but the flavor.
Like I was saying, I've got almonds.
Hang on.
What do you got in there?
So what do you got in there, Corey?
I'll tell you in 1 second. Get these out. You guys try.
Now the spice, I'm actually very interested in where the spice is coming from in this and what exactly. Obviously, capsaicin of some sort, but. And yellow and blue greens. You said where was that, Corey?
Where do you get this from?
My homie Jesse Smith grows these, and basically he supplies these to Mother Earth Foods.
Oh, okay.
And some other local chains here in town and up through Athens. But that's where I get them from.
So you'd find this at
Nice.
Mother Earth Foods over there
So-
on 19th.
Oh, it's great.
You would.
Oh, it's delicious.
Yeah. So there's peanut butter in there. There's
Wow.
oats, mango, bananas, apples.
See, so you're throwing in a lot of your extra vitamins in there, and you're just using your microgreens to get your vitamin K.
Exactly. You know, instead of buying vitamins that they say that's in there, I'd rather put the raw ingredients of what I need into my blender and digest it. You know, because putting it in a blender, it's the same thing as your stomach. So also having stomach problems, it also helps because it's the perfect consistency for your diet.
Yeah.
That was a large part of my frustration here when trying to research vitamins and not only vitamins but immune health and come up with all of this and get a full understanding on this to talk to you guys about. It was extremely frustrating trying to look through all of these things on multivitamins.
Sure.
And one-a-days and things
Yeah.
like that, and come to the understanding that everybody's like, oh, I take my one a day, it's okay, and it's just bullshit. There's all this shit that you don't need that you're already getting supplied through your diet. There's 30% of it that you just don't need.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of it, you'd be better off getting it from fresh food.
Yeah.
You're not getting the right bioavailable amount. And that's key when you're talking vitamins and things. The amount that you're taking in, and then the amount that you can absorb. Mm-hmm. And my biggest
Late 80s, I do believe there was a doctor who was suggesting, excuse me, not a doctor, a radio advocate suggesting hyper doses of certain vitamins that you wouldn't necessarily be able to over dose yourself on. He was saying that 10,000, 15,000 units of what I believe vitamin C, vitamin A, things of that nature was almost better for you than taking a daily recommended value. And that was something obviously kind of fizzled out in 90s, early 2000s, but that was something that seemed to be beneficial.
Like
to some people.
overdosing.
Like
Yeah.
vitamin
There
E's
are
and things
certain
of that
vitamins
nature.
that you can't hurt yourself to take, but
Yes.
then there are a lot of other. There are
There are a
too
lot
many-
of vitamins
there
that
are,
you can
There are way
hurt
too
yourself
many.
overtaking, and
And
that's
that is something I want to be very clear on. There are a lot of vitamins that you can take too much of. Zinc, potassium, calcium.
your daily vitamins in general. Taking multiple tablets of a daily vitamin, things of that nature, is not something that's
No.
recommended.
And that's why I said at the end of the day, you're better off getting it from fresh foods.
right. And as somebody who was formerly larger of size myself, this is
Witten
frankly
Farms.
tasty.
Witten Farms is a spot locally that I pick up fruit from when I'm driving past.
Yeah, it's great.
And that's just because they're just conveniently located.
and friendly.
Yeah.
And friendly.
Yeah.
36 in Emerson's a decent location for them as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I think now's the time of season where they're going to be coming back around.
Yeah, and they'll get stuff. They also get stuff like brought in from Georgia and stuff like that, and
Okay.
different peaches from different regions.
I saw they
So-
had to sign up
Yeah,
for Georgia peaches.
Georgia peaches, man. I've had a couple shakes ago. I make
A couple shakes. That's
I had some Georgia peaches from there and put them in, and they were delicious.
I can't say that I've ever had a Georgia peach, but it definitely
You
enticed
probably
me.
had and didn't know it if you've
Sure.
gotten them from the store.
Sure.
Because even the large chains are gonna. If they're the large exporter of peaches, then you're going to eventually get one from there. But, to know
No,
that's
with the,
where you're getting it with the intent,
with
that's
the
pretty
allure
neat.
attached.
Yeah,
With
for
the
sure.
allure attached.
For sure.
And there's something to be said about that at the same time, having the experience with your food. There was a show me and Eric were watching not too long ago that was valuing the price of an orange being sent to space. Saying that it's of no cost to have a human in space experience a little bit of the Earth while they're up there. If they're up there risking their life for the exploration of, there's nothing like having a little bit of taste of it.
Yeah. They had a launch not too long ago, didn't they, Eric?
SpaceX.
Yeah. Did anybody follow that or?
I didn't know. No, I didn't get to watch that.
Unfortunately, no.
No, I just a lot of people were watching the event. I didn't know any significance or.
I do know Elon Musk with his commercialization of space travel is facing a little bit of backlash from his
competitor.
Not necessarily competitors, but childhood heroes, we'll say, in a term phrase. Not necessarily the response he was expecting, and that's kind of unfortunate. But at the same time, I do realize why. You can't necessarily prepare a regular civilian for full space travel.
You can. It's called like a 16-week training, and you either pass or you don't.
Well,
that seems pretty simple to me. Whether it's
hey.
and because I'm I'm into fitness and stuff like that.
Sure.
And that's part of the reason why I do
think
try
it would
to stretch
take
and
16?
mobility. Well, if any chance arises, you got to be fit for space. If you're toasting this world up and we're able to fly out,
man.
your body's got to be able to take it. I mean,
I would gear myself up as quick as possible.
Many reasons why.
How long does an astronaut train to go into space?
2 years.
2 years.
Okay, well then it's a 2-year training. But if this is childhood dreams of people, then it shouldn't be any deal. You got the money, you've made it in life, you're successful. That's what you want instead of a big fancy fucking house or car. Hell yeah,
go to space.
Well,
go to space. Like, let's pay for your training. And that can generate income for NASA and space programs and propel it forward.
Exactly, the exposure of having an option to go outside
of be a basic
what we know.
Right, that's not even if you want to be like a Billy Badass, like a mechanical engineering degree, like
you want to work on
everything to fix the ship. That guy.
No, I'm serious. Like if you want to work on the International Space Station, like you have to learn languages.
Everything.
You have to learn
Everything. Each person has to be of equal value in case of a crisis.
Exactly.
Because, I'm just saying, like, it has to be that dude. You ever watch any of the space movies? There's always one fucking Billy Badass, and the rest are, like, new at it. They're saving the world. They've never been in space, but there's that one guy, like, Bobby over here. You want to stay with Bobby, because Bobby can fix anything. Bobby knows what to do in any scenario. Like, I feel like you have to be that dude with all the other countries. Every country has their dudes, like the A-team.
Like
that's exactly how it goes with the International Space Station. That's
the
idea behind it.
The greatest minds.
Yeah, exactly.
Corey, you were saying 16 weeks should be a proper time to get somebody fit for space travel.
That's probably ludicrous, isn't
Neil Armstrong only trained for 120 days to walk on the moon.
So how many weeks is that?
Well, let's do some math.
Do some math on that
real quick.
Let's do some
math. 120 divided by
16
about
weeks.
17 weeks. I tell you what, we'll call it.
I'm just saying. Like, I think that's how long I would need to be in tip-top shape for whatever. If I can fucking do it, like, that should be a requirement. I'm just an average dude that just works at it.
Yeah, that's a surprisingly short time to prepare yourself for something that could be quite literally life-altering. They say you grow 2 inches while you're in space.
Wow.
And you can see that shrink
Holy shit,
visibly.
they're going to make their money on their own from Asia. No offense, guys, but like statistically speaking, like I could see it. Like I'd want to be taller too. I'm serious, man.
Did you see that one thing about does it make you 2 inches taller in all directions?
There you go again. Like
that's funny.
All races, they'll be lining up.
Space travel is definitely an interesting topic and one I'm almost upset that we're not exploring as much as we could.
Well, it seems like we are. It's just there's basic economics to shit and what we're charging for fossil fuel, metals, all the things that it takes to build spacecraft. That's just the hyperinflation of our monies, where it's been spread out.
I feel like oil pricing being as low as it is too right now could be
it could be lucrative to get started.
It could
more travel during this period, and there may be periods in time where it's not feasible. But eventually they're going to do it with nuke-like technology. They have to. Or magnetic propulsion. Magnetic propulsion has a lot of potential if harnessed in the right direction.
Wasn't China developing some sort of railway system?
Yeah, exactly. Because it uses the momentum of it and the way you angle those magnets. If you just had mechanics that just put them at a tilt, all of a sudden you're pushing forward on that.
I think there were a couple amusement park roller coaster rides that are doing the same thing.
Yes,
that's a very interesting.
There's got to
getting
be
yourself above 200 miles an hour without combustion
is amazing.
It's impressive. That's a feat that we've accomplished.
I just don't.
And we may be able to just
in less than 10 years
keep going, like going a magnetic railway, and it's like a causeway that keeps going up. It never crests, and then you just eventually go in.
No.
Yes. If you're going fast enough.
The Jetsons.
Yeah. Not yet.
So funny. Not yet.
This isn't the Jetsons.
I mean, luckily.
Not yet.
Luckily, we may see.
This is the date. The date today is June 22nd, 23rd now, 2020. In my lifetime, it will look like the Jetsons.
You think?
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's what they thought back then when the Jetsons was made.
Well,
that was the prediction.
If we start killing each other and things don't change in political climates, then absolutely not. But for progression to happen, there has to be some type of change, but there has to be some type of order. Whether it's you police yourselves, and most of the time in those cases, the penalty is death.
Did you see that shit where they've got the city shut down? They got 6 blocks shut down in the city.
Portland?
What are they calling that in Seattle? In Seattle, I thought. CHAZ? CHAZ. CHAZ.
Yeah. The
they ran out of food, didn't they? Weren't they asking for food donations?
Yes, they were.
Were they already?
Yeah, they're not even self-sustaining.
They didn't set up a supply line directly into.
Or they didn't stock up for a siege.
Well, that could be a good
absolutely.
Well.
If it's going to turn into warfare,
that's
what they should have done.
A week and a half, 2
They
weeks.
They should have had supplies to hold out.
Machines in the area have probably been running out.
Guns are great as long as you're willing to take stuff over or take over resources.
Can't eat guns.
You can't eat guns.
You just can't. Can't eat.
You go to a stranded island. It's not gonna. Yeah, you're not gonna eat bullets.
No,
that's exactly it. You can't eat bullets.
That was one thing that I was hoping to see after their little territory mapping came out, was some sort of supply line going in, and that never came to fruition. At least we never.
I don't know why they wouldn't still be driving stuff in unless they're just letting the other people on the outside know what they needed.
Well, I think me and Eric had that conversation a while ago too.
What kind of stun is it?
What kind of fucking police training do we have right now where these citizens come up with guns and they go, leave, and the cops leave? What do we got going on right now in the country?
There was
the reaction we got.
A police force. I don't remember which city it was right off the top of my head. That's
Atlanta?
Probably something to Google here. Was it Atlanta? All their entire force
just quit.
Yeah,
hey, you start seeing these internet videos and in other cities, and they're just taking over. And they're just roughing these cops up, and it's just brawling in the streets. And then they start bringing in guns. It's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to show up? Or would you show up?
What do you think about the cops in Georgia starting to be trained in jiu-jitsu?
That's a much better approach. In
In
England, they don't even carry guns.
I think LA just set up a response unit that was unarmed and trained specifically in mental facilitation to respond to any kind of
like if a dude's got a gun and he's not giving it up and you're in danger, you can call it in.
Yeah.
In Japan, the police are the only ones that carry guns.
I think it's New Zealand. The police don't.
That's never going to happen here.
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there are so many different.
Well, Japan has it like
styles.
that. Japan has it like that because let's not forget World War II.
Right.
And ever since then, we've kind of reigned over their defense.
I don't.
No, not really. Not like that. No. In Japan's civilian
We won't
gun
let them.
ownership
have guns.
It doesn't work like that.
No,
it doesn't work like that. In Japan, you have to pass a physical fitness test, I believe. I know you have to pass a psychological fitness test. You have to have regular checkups that prove that you know how to store your weapon, that you're storing it separately from your ammunition. Like, they check on you regularly, way more than they do here. More so than just at the point of licensing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's no way you can tell me that America is imposing that on Japan.
I mean, you have to take a written and a firearm class 3 times a year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Keep up to date with it.
You got to get a doctor's note even.
It's
saying
so
that you're
serious.
adequate to own a gun.
It's so serious in Japan. It's insane.
Yeah, I still
that will
think
absolutely never
I
happen.
still think the United States in World War II has a lot to play with why they don't have a bunch of gun ownership. Because in this country, it's just been handed down from our forefathers.
Sure.
And nobody's ever came in, and there was a long period of time where their citizens didn't have guns. They didn't have problems. They didn't have crime. So to a big sense, like, they didn't ever want to put them on sale for the public.
And I mean, to be fair,
And I think we have control in their trades to some. I don't know. We do, but we don't on paper. That's my stance.
When the country was founded, literally the second thing they thought of was the right to bear arms.
Right.
After the right to say anything we want.
Yeah. First of all, we have a right to hold these motherfucking guns.
Exactly.
So even when we sign, we're going to keep them.
Exactly. And no matter how anybody feels one way or another in America, it's going to be a very, very long time before any of us see
that
a country without a gun.
Yeah.
Or a police force.
We
without a gun, for
may
that matter.
divide. There may be unrest for a while,
And there may be some kind of
Oh my
harsh
God! Is
regulation.
California still
at some
trying to
point.
separate?
I don't know about now. I would assume this is.
You're
a
gonna
time-
hope not after COVID.
Yeah, I would assume this is a time to unify and try to keep some sort of semblance of face about
Yeah.
the United States. Any other?
we're not letting any. I don't think this country's letting any state secede.
Any fucking Brexit happen
Well,
up
I mean,
in America?
shit.
We ain't having no fucking Brexit in America.
There was
They
a
don't work
petition
like
in
that.
Texas.
There's too much
2012.
governmental infrastructure there.
Yeah.
Texas
Bases.
tried in early 2010s. And
You're not.
Military bases,
Yeah,
Jesus
right.
Christ.
They're not giving up their military base. I can tell you right now, California's not giving up their coastline, their bases, their coastline. Like, yeah, we'll just move inland and take all of our ships
another
and
Chile.
park them on the Atlantic and keep ourselves exposed so you guys can be your own country over here.
well, we'd still have Oregon and Washington, man.
Okay, that's valid.
Yeah,
valid.
You can't even
okay.
devil's advocate that.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
but we would, they like to have control and stop the cartels through there. They come through, the
Baja
ocean, obviously.
California's a
Yeah. So I don't see them giving up
No,
a
it's
coastline.
Oh, man. I don't know who ever thought that was a good idea.
If anything,
Texas-
it'd be a small section. Of North
if any state would secede, it'd be Texas.
If
Texas
any state
tried.
could handle their self
Yeah,
in secession.
absolutely. Like, you'll pay for it? Sure, we'll pay for it. We got all the oil we
I mean,
need.
I feel like there's cities in Texas that are self-sufficient.
Probably so. I mean, still probably importing a lot of their vegetables and
Oh,
fruits.
of course, but good Lord, Texas is just a whole nother
Yeah.
world in itself, a whole nother country.
Yeah, it is.
No. That's I know they definitely had a petition going around for a little while, and
Yeah,
it was
I
early
remember it as well.
2010s.
Yeah, I remember that as well.
They
I'm from
tried.
Texas, actually.
Are you really? Cool.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Born in?
Born in Houston. Born in Houston.
Oh man.
How long did you live there?
Till I was 9.
Did you really? So,
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, how was?
It was awesome. I loved it. I was really pissed when we had to move up here. But I thought, because they were building an ice hockey rink next to my house.
Oh wow.
And we played street hockey like no other. And I played soccer and traveled in soccer probably 6 to 9. And there was like certain levels of soccer. And it was like, this real big deal. You had bronze, silver, and gold.
Okay.
Or no, blue, bronze, blue, red, something like that.
You obviously have some interest in soccer, but any in
Yeah.
hockey still?
Not as no.
No.
I mean, I love the game of hockey. I like to watch the game of hockey, but like
What
I
any
didn't
teams
play
you
it when
keep
I
up
came
with
up
in
here.
soccer?
Nope.
Any sports you like? Keep up with?
I don't really have time
Just
to
too
watch
busy?
sports.
Too busy?
Yeah. Usually it's my off day, or I'm always doing something.
Always doing something.
Yeah.
Well, that's your life, Corey. You stay busy.
Yeah.
You keep yourself very busy.
Mm-hmm.
With, whether it's your shop, whether it's
Yeah.
working on attempting to do a podcast, whether it's
Yeah, this podcast. I like it though.
I do
It's
too.
a lot of fun.
it is a lot of fun. It's a great way
We
to
got
get
really off topic, but we can
Yeah.
we could always keep
Yeah.
it together.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys
Yeah.
want to do here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
All right.
Yeah. What other topics did you learn about with immunity health?
Well, really, it's just vitamin research. At this
Vitamin
point.
research is what you've basically dug
That's
into.
that's how you develop your immune.
Do you take vitamins, Eric?
I don't. I don't. I really don't. And it's something like I've looked into a couple times for different things. You know, people. That's been a lot of the Google results has been, you know, vitamins to help with depression, vitamins to help with anxiety, this to help with that, you know, and it's people end up taking vitamins to help with certain things that they notice. The people that are trying to be health conscious, I think, treat it almost like taking a medicine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When they notice something, they treat it. But
And that was
in reality, you need not treat it like it's a medicine and you're treating a condition. You need to understand that you need to keep your fluids full at all times. For lack of a better metaphor to explain this, you need to keep your and not to sound cheesy, you got to keep yourself at tip-top performance.
Sure.
You at all times got to keep your levels at an optimum performance as well as you can, because it will just literally help everything.
You're setting the
One
standard
vitamin-
for a better life.
Exactly. One vitamin fuels the next to be absorbed better by your body, and therefore will allow XYZ to happen. You get better sleep, you eat better, you do XYZ, and life will be easier.
You feel better, you live better, you stay awake
Exactly.
easier. One of the things that always plagued me when I was a bigger person, a larger person, was the amount of time I could stay awake. The feeling of drag once it hit about 5-6 o'clock, and feeling like I needed to take a nap or something. And that's one thing that definitely is indicative of a need of change, and a need of a normalcy in your life, excuse me.
Not being able to make it through your day.
Not being able to make it through your day.
Yeah.
And that's, you were saying with your vitamins, that's something that keeps you awake. You absorb it better. They work together to keep you functioning easier and better.
Exactly. And it's not even like for instance, Corey taking in all of these microgreens is allowing him to absorb vitamin D better. When your potassium levels are high, then it's going to allow you to take in more vitamin D, for instance.
Sure.
And vitamin D, I found people are finding. I'm sorry, I didn't find. Studies are showing slowly that people that had high levels of vitamin D dealt with COVID-19 better. And in fact, most people are vitamin D insufficient, if not vitamin D deficient. Dr. Rhonda Patrick on her website and on the Joe Rogan podcast talked about this and talked about how as you have darker levels of skin, as you have more melanin in your skin, you have a harder time absorbing vitamin D, and you need to get it from not necessarily supplements, but foods rich in it.
Yeah.
It's such a
What's the highest concentration of vitamin D found in a plant, and what plant is that?
I truthfully don't know.
Google.
Obviously, everyone knows about.
Wrong answer, Eric.
I used to take a 2,000 unit supplement of vitamin D when I was taking a vitamin regularly.
The 2,000 IU on the bottle.
Yep. Along with a multivitamin. On
What
top
does
of
the
multivitamin.
IU stand for?
I think it's just units.
Individual
Right,
unit.
individual
maybe.
unit,
Oh,
maybe.
okay.
I think it's
Okay.
intravenous unit.
Intravenous unit?
No, that means through the bloodstream.
Right. I think that's how
Absorb
you would measure it.
via bloodstream.
If they're 5,000 individual unit, they're each capsule.
Sure.
That would make more sense than intravenous.
right?
Yeah.
Google.
Foods that are rich in fucking what were we talking about? Vitamin D.
Yep.
It was
The highest.
We're talking, well, not necessarily the highest, but we're talking like mushrooms, yolks, egg yolk, rainbow trout.
Rainbow trout.
Oh yeah.
That's a good one for people around this area. Lots of rainbow trout around this area.
And that's probably why it's found here.
When we're
Let's face it.
When
It's
we're
gloomy around here.
Well, we
sometimes.
have a decent amount of vitamin D. People, I should rephrase that. You were right in saying that in gloomy areas, people will have issues getting vitamin D. But you also find that those people have lighter skin. So therefore, they have an easier time absorbing what vitamin D from the sun they can take in.
Yeah.
Sure.
The reason I'm trying to give you these foods that are rich in vitamin D is because truly the best source of vitamin D
Is sun.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
is going outside and experiencing
But
sun.
you know, in the winter around this area, that's not obtainable.
Exactly.
You know,
So
so
then if
that's
you're
the other way you got
talking-
to rely on the foods, which is why we
Exactly.
want to
So
know.
if you're talking
Can you
health
Google
foods-
search that and see what is the? Just Google search the. What food has the highest source of vitamin D?
I'm here. No,
Also-
that's what I'm
okay,
saying. That's what
okay.
I'm saying. I'm here. So you're talking cheese, milks, yogurts. It's the obvious things.
Okay.
See
But
if we
then
can.
that's why I was trying to give you the weirder things. When you're talking health food, you're talking tofu, liver,
Okay, liver.
and rainbow trout, things and mushrooms,
Okay.
and things like that. You can cook mushrooms into so many things.
Yeah,
Boom, there you go.
absolutely.
There's vitamin D.
Another interesting thing to know would be how many international
There's an
units
international unit. Yeah.
would you gain from just an average hour of sun exposure, just being outside for an hour. You know, how much vitamin D would you actually gather
From the sun.
From the sun.
I mean, there's lots of varying factors with how close you are to the sun, your location,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff would play into effect. But you could take an average. I mean, you're closer to the sun. It's like
Elevation.
yeah.
Oh.
Being up in the mountains, you get sunburned a lot easier. You go hiking or anything else on these high elevations. It's going to be, sunburned city.
It seems like you can obtain your full daily value of vitamin D from roughly 30 minutes of sun exposure midday, talking about maybe noon when the sun's the highest in the sky, excuse me. You could probably obtain your full daily vitamin D need from just about half an hour
Are you
outside.
getting it regardless being outside with cloud coverage?
That's
Yes.
That's a
Yeah.
good question.
For the same rate as you're gonna get sunburnt
Because they
outside,
say you can get sunburn outside on a cloudy day.
You can get
Yeah, it's the same
sunburnt
thing.
from a
You're getting
reflection
sun-
from snow as well.
Yeah, you're getting sun exposure through the clouds.
Vitamin D.
It's not blocking the UV rays. You're not getting UV ray blockage from the clouds.
Okay.
Right.
Just getting light.
You don't have to wear.
People
vitamin
get
D
tricked,
stuff.
and that's where
Exactly.
people get tricked at the beach and stuff. I always remember that as a kid. Put on sunscreen. It's not hot.
Yeah. It's just under about 1,000 units of vitamin D from about 30 minutes of sun exposure.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
under 1,000.
Hey, that gives us reference when we're looking at these bottles of pills.
And
Vitamins.
since we're talking about deficiencies, it's some 17% of Americans
And
that are deficient.
Did
in
it say how
vitamin C.
much? Did it say how much vitamin D was in like egg yolks or milk or cheese? Let's do milk. Let's do milk. Just look up a picture of a milk jug, and it should tell you the daily value.
I mean, you've just got so many different kinds of milk.
Yeah, just get vitamin D milk. Generic vitamin D milk, and let's see how much of that is in there. And it's probably by 8 ounce.
Fortified whole milk's got about 98 units.
98.
98.
So you'd have to
units
get
in
10.
what I'm assuming is
glasses
just
of milk.
serving of milk.
You'd have to get 10 glasses of milk
To even
to get
close
what
to-
30
See,
minutes
that's
of
what I'm
sun.
trying to get across to you guys.
That's a
why it's
powerful-
That's a lot of milk.
That's why it's so important to eat a balanced
Diet. Yeah,
It's not
absolutely.
about taking a multivitamin. It's not about
Drinking
Drinking
10 glasses
10
of
10
milk.
glasses.
I understand that, but we're
Yeah.
using that in a
Well,
comparison.
other
I mean,
people don't though.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
my frustration.
okay,
Here, is
yeah.
that these people are eating McDonald's and they're going, "Why am I lethargic?" But you've just eaten McDonald's 3 times this week.
And it's the things it's cooked in. It's the quality of the ingredients being used.
It's how they're stored.
It's the lack of
what's
greens.
added.
Like, sure, you ate potatoes and now your body is receptive for protein. That's awesome. I'm glad that you ate a lot of starchy foods and you got the vitamin that is prevalent in starchy foods. And now your body is receptive to protein. So if you ate a steak, you would get the bioavailable, the full bioavailable amount of protein from that steak. But if you're not then following it up with that steak and then following it up with a microgreen salad, then you're gonna cause issues in your body down the line if you do that day by day by day, and people just don't consider that. And once you get looking into this, it's almost frustrating.
Yeah, it's so easy yet it's so hard.
That's exactly it.
Like
So
there's good snacks out there, like these organic coconut bites. They got chia seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds.
Where'd you get them from?
From Sam's Club.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Sam's Club's worth $100, man.
But that's a giant bag. That's the other thing. You've got to buy in bulk.
Right.
Yeah, that's that bag's like $7, but it's about the right size for what you get in it. Unlike those bags at Walmart or the smaller chains, that's just
It's still a Walmart chain, though.
exactly.
Still talking about Walmart.
Yeah.
There is some sort of
Walton
cost
would be
associated with
ashamed.
trying to. That's $100 a year at the same time. There is some sort of cost associated with trying to step outside of your comfort zone when it comes to McDonald's. You can schedule the $10 McDonald's meal 3 times a week, but you might not necessarily think of how to break down the $5 thing of vitamins. Planning it out and trying to get your.
But that's just it, though. If you stop doing the $10 vitamins. If you stop doing the $10 McDonald's trip 3 times a week, and instead you buy a pound of fucking ground beef, that's 2 days now
Yep.
of food that is healthier for you if less rounded.
On the high side of $6.
Yeah, you're gonna take the same $10. You're gonna buy a very good pound of ground beef.
Or
you're gonna
pound of ground beef.
You're gonna buy buns. You're gonna get a cheap cheese.
Yep.
And you're gonna have burgers.
Velveeta's $2.50 a
And
pack.
it's gonna be great for 2
Yep.
days, and you're gonna have leftover cheese and some leftover buns. And you're not gonna have anything to have left over when you spend $10, even if you can spend it over 2 days at McDonald's or Taco Bell or Hardee's or wherever else you're gonna go. And that's such a hard realization for someone when they're on the go kind of lifestyle.
And another thing to be considered too is you don't necessarily consider portion size whenever you're eating fast food. I mean, I typically think of what can I get for the cheapest that's going to give me the most. I'm going to indulge myself in a little bit of fast food before I consider how much I'm actually intaking.
Right, and we were talking earlier about how easy it is for me to drink 2-liter bottles of water than it is to take in 500 milliliters bottles of water. And it just feels like so much less when you're holding the big container. So when you go to the gas station, when you go to your Speedway, your 7-Eleven, whatever it may be, and you get your mighty size, your big gulp, and you don't realize that this 52-ounce big gulp
Is 52
is
ounces.
a 2-liter. If I handed you a 2-liter and said, here's your soda for the day, drink it. Here's your soda for the next 4 hours.
Oh,
Drink
my goodness.
this. You would look at me like I was crazy and I was asking you to become obese because
Right.
I'm asking you to drink a 2-liter.
But in reality, when you get that big cup, that 44 ounce at Speedway, I mean, you're almost there.
That's a half a 2-liter.
That's
a half a
you're
2-liter.
there.
A 2-liter is 56 ounces, I believe.
Sure.
It's you're
How many
so
servings
close.
is that?
You are so close.
I think it's 8.
8?
Yeah, I think it's 8.
Because you got 8-ounce glasses.
And some people will drink
It's
one of those
roughly
44 ounce with a meal.
Do you ever get the people that drink
I used
pop all
to.
the time that say it has water in it?
Oh my goodness!
What?
Oh, that was an ex-girlfriend of mine. Oh my goodness! Yeah, that was.
Pop has water in it.
Pop has water in it.
No, what?
Sweet tea has water in it.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, I know it does, but what?
It's
Dr.
carbonated
Pepper has water in
with
it.
flavor.
Oh,
the
not
flavor
the
they
same
just
thing.
add.
It's
I
not the
know.
same.
I agree.
It's not the same thing.
I
in
agree.
any facet, in any way, shape, or form, it is not the same thing as nice, clear, filtered water.
I
So-
got a water filter, by the way. Speaking
really?
of health,
know what?
yeah, it's got carbon filters and shit. It's supposed to be the best of the best. It's this big metal can. You dump it through all the filters.
Ever remember hearing of that life straw? Something you could stick in any kind of river and it would actually filter the water for you. Any kind of water source
had
for that
one.
matter. Have you really?
Yeah.
Did it?
And I've used one,
Yeah.
and I've drank water off the side of a mountain.
Oh.
And
Thoughts,
I
feelings?
didn't get any shits or anything
Very
bad.
impressive.
But it doesn't
And I
taste
drank,
great.
and I drank. Oh,
Right.
it was snow melt, bro.
Oh, so it tasted amazing.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're in peak conditions. Bro.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I would have drank that right.
I don't
from the-
deny
right from
that.
the
It's
source.
just this clear water. I mean, I was.
Oh wow.
But they're
I
saying
showed
you
you-
can
I
drink
sh-
your own urine.
Yeah.
But I showed you guys the picture, the water up there on the Yuba River in California. It's just crystal clear. Crystal
Unnoticeably
clear.
clear.
Yes. Like, you're just like, wow, you can see the big boulders at the bottom of that.
Yeah.
You can see the whole river carved out just in rock, and you're climbing the rocks down the river. It's beautiful.
There was a waterfall me and Eric had went to in Pennsylvania that was just a complete slate fall. We were traveling down the river, saw what water looked like to be maybe 2 feet deep at the time, trying
Yeah.
to walk on the side of the little bed there, fall into the river, find out it's about 1.5 inches.
Yeah.
You know, and that's mountain water like that is just
It's amazing.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I don't know if I'd drink the water around here, but, it just, water's something else. Clean water is going to be, a commodity.
It already
really-
is in Flint, Michigan. It has been for years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, we have similar situation here.
True.
And coincidentally, the same water department that's right next to DuPont is my water.
Yeah.
And they sent out a letter, which is right here.
You mentioned
Read you this letter real quick.
You mentioned earlier in a previous conversation C8 test.
Yeah.
I remember
Well,
seeing
this
that
is the
on the
newest.
side.
This is the newest in the C8 district. Our water system has sampled for a series of unregulated contaminants. Unregulated contaminants are those that do not yet have a drinking water standard set by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. The purpose of monitoring for these contaminants is to help the EPA decide whether the contaminant should have a standard. As our customers, you have a right to know that this data is available. And then it lists, https // lubecpsd.com. And click on the UCMR4 analytical results, or you can contact them by phone at 304-863-3341.
Now, how many people?
That's the Lubeck.
Now hold on, Eric. I
Public
feel like this is
water.
important to mention. This is something that is in our water system, our drinking water. Not only us, but the surrounding area as well. This is something that, if you are concerned, that please, the number is out there again. Give a call, talk to a representative. Maybe there is something that we can do as a community to try better our community. What's the old phrase? You don't want to shit where you eat.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how many people? Just
But this
thrown
could be
litter away?
well. You guys are there's the EPA getting things abolished and whatever else. Is this a letter that basically they changed some paperwork in DC and said that stuff's okay to dump in there. They don't have solid evidence. Like there's been some fucked up shit, but you can't prove without a shadow of a doubt that it was us. So therefore, you should just take it off your list. We're going to continue to dump it.
Oh, restrictions.
And then they just send us
regulations
this letter, and if you just don't pay attention to it, like,
That's just another letter.
but if you pay attention, get on there,
It's a
Let's get on
hardback,
yeah.
address right on the front. That's another one you tear up and throw in the trash and wouldn't even know otherwise. There's no attention. There's no notice.
That's what I'm
It's,
saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you've got all these people that are uneducated and just upset, and it's a snowball effect. It just goes and goes and goes for years. But
It's a carcinogen in our.
what can you do?
Here's the report.
Not a whole lot except call a representative. That's unfortunately a sign of the times, but
Report of laboratory analysis.
here we go. I'm very curious on what the laboratory has to say.
This doesn't even make sense. Project, whatever. And then it has Alabama certification, Louisiana, West Virginia. It just says West Virginia certification 9962C. I mean, there's no. Let me see down here if there's a report. Okay, here we
Those
go.
numbers are so wrapped up in bureaucracy, we may never find out exactly what that truly means. But there's probably a good attempt here somewhere.
Oh, this keyboard would work.
Wow, butanol, methoxyethanol, propanol.
Oh, there's the C8.
Where is it?
I think that's the propanol, if I'm thinking correctly.
Total organic carbon. This is brown.
Yeah, I believe it's the propanol. Propanol is commonly used as a solvent in antifreezes, lacquer formulas, some soaps, cleaning windows, things of that nature. I think that's something used to try to break down, like they said, antifreezes and things like that. I think that's probably something they're using in that nature.
Interesting. It's not easy for. I mean, is that other than that, a lot of this is just Greek.
Yeah. Well, I
even
don't
for
wanna,
somebody with a background in the oil industry.
I was just about to say, I don't want to say it
Mass
is.
reports.
It's meant to be purposely, but in some regard, jargon is used to hide as much information
Right.
as possible.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a good evening. Got
This
some
has
good
been-
podcasts down. 51 mark.
Quite a bit of fun here.
Had a great time.
Nice little
And
conversation.
See you next time around.
Yeah.
all right.
3 broken chairs.